Dominant, residual, and emergent by Raymond. Introduction. The concept of dominant, residual, and emergent explain how culture functions as a changing and dynamic process within society. Raymond Williams argues that culture is not fixed or timeless. Instead, it is shaped by power relations, historical conditions, and social struggles. These categories help us understand how certain cultural meanings maintain authority, how some meanings survive from the past, how new meanings develop to challenge existing norms, especially in literature and society. The background arises from cultural materialism developed in the mid 20th century, influenced by Marxist thought, challenges the traditional view of culture and allied timeless or detached from social reality. Williams argues culture must be studied in relation to economic conditions, political power, and historical change, shows that cultural change is gradual involving interaction between past traditions, present power, and new practices. So the main thinker Raymond Williams, British cultural theorist, founding figure of cultural studies, developed cultural materialism, studies culture in relation to history, economy, and power. Emphasized that culture is ordinary, shaped by lived social experiences. Then major works, Culture and Society, The Long Revolution, Marxism, and Literature. Introduce dominant, residual, and emergent to explain cultural continuity and change. Then key ideas culture is dynamic. How old, present, and new practice exist together. So society changes gradually. Example: folk rituals, old, formal education present, online learning new. Culture is linked with power. How dominant groups control meanings via schools and media, etc. Why? To make values appear natural. For example, English language seen as superior, okay, comparison to the other languages. Dominant culture maintains authority, repeats values until accepted willingly. Power works better through consent. For example, 9-5 of considered successful life. Residual culture preserves the past. Past through tradition, family, memory, provides identity and continuity. For example, joint family system. Emergent culture challenges the present. New ideas appear through protest or marginalized voices. Social sins and inequality create resistance. Example: feminism questioning patriarchy. Literature reflects cultural struggle. How texts carry ideology supporting or resisting power. Literature shapes thinking. For example, Dali literature challenging caste hierarchy. Okay? On important terms, dominant culture, meaning the ruling most powerful culture in society, controls institutions like education, media, and law. Why? Maintains social and political power. Example: capitalism, patriarchy, standard English, residual culture, meaning cultural practices from the past and are still active. How? Passed down through tradition, memory, and rituals. Why? Provides identity and continuity. For example, folk traditions, joint family system, religious rituals. rituals. Okay, emergent culture, meaning new cultural meanings and practices developing in society. How express through a protest literature and new forms. Why arises from social changes and resistance. For example, feminism, LGBTQ plus movements, and digital culture. Cultural materialism, that meaning a theory that studies culture in relation to study power and society. How analyzes literature and culture and product of social condition. Why? To rebel ideology hidden in cultural text. Example, studying novels as reflections of social struggle. Okay? Then hegemony, meaning power maintained through con- consent rather than force. How dominant values are presented as normal or natural. Why? Ensures long-term controls of society. For example, acceptance of social inequality as natural. Important quotation. A dominant culture is never either total or exclusive. How residual or emergent practices always exist. Why? Limits of cultural power need for adaptation. Residual cultural elements have been formed in the past but are still active in the present. How? Via family, rituals, memory. Why? Identity and continuity. Emergent meanings and values are continually being created. How? Protest literature, marginalized voices. Why? Social sense and resistance. The dominant culture actively selects and excludes. How? Promotes some values, marginalized others, why maintains hegemony. Culture as ordinary. Okay. Uh, Here is a technical problem. I'm extremely sorry for that. Okay. Uh, Culture as ordinary. How? Found in everyday language, habits, beliefs. Why? Foundation of culture, materialism. So that's it. If you like this video, do like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much watching this video. Keep watching. Stay connected. Bye bye.